walk us through this. What does that mean, and what does that tell us about this company, and what do we need to know about this company?
Well, so let's go into the history of Moderna a little bit. It's a very interesting company, and it has backed up its Brinks truck full of armed robbers to the Treasury and has been robbing the US taxpayer for a long time. This company, in its 2019 financial statement, said that it had $187 million of grant funding from the federal government and from foundations that had been untapped. This is a company that presented itself as in financial straits, but we find evidence of hundreds of millions of dollars of grant funding coming from places like DARPA and NIH and NIAID and other places, where the company not only is not producing things, but this is the weird thing. Moderna is not a company that has actually had a history of financial success. It's been in the market since 2010 when it started. It started, as you know, with this very interesting alliance between a venture capital firm and a group of researchers in the Northeast here in the US. And they just came together and saw an opportunity to exploit a technology they did not own. And that's a big statement, but listen to why I'm making it. There's a company called Arbutus Therapeutics. And Arbutus has a patent, and the patent number, and you know I'm a stickler for details, so the patent number, for anybody who wants to look at it, 8,058,069, that patent issued to Arbutus is a patent on the lipid nanoparticle technology. And I'll give you a very simple way to think about that. It's a complex term, but think of a lipid nanoparticle as the envelope in which you put the messenger RNA to get into the cell. It's the delivery mechanism for the vaccine compound. And that patent, which was issued to Arbutus on the lipid nanoparticle, which is critical for the Moderna vaccine, was actually not Moderna's to use. So here's a company who in their 130 plus patents have never acknowledged the federal government's support for their research, despite the fact that almost all of it's derived from the federal government. Here's a company that in so doing has violated the federal law over 130 times, because the Bayh-Dole Act, which put in motion the law that said that if you get federal funding, you have to disclose it in your patent applications. They have not complied with that law on any of the applications germane to this vaccine or any of the other 4 that they have candidate trials for. So here's a company who's been compulsively breaking the law. They are not only breaking the law, but they're using someone else's platform technology, the enabling technology, without license. And that's the company that Anthony Fauci picks to be the front runner for the preferred Operation Warp Speed vaccine. You sit there going, well, hold on a minute. Why are all of these funds flowing to a company that has compulsively been an illegal operator for nearly a decade? Anytime that happens, we smell a rat by evidence of the rat droppings, not because we have a hunch about rats.
And whose responsibility is it to discover this and prosecute this, from a legal standpoint?
Well, here's the funny thing. There's a thing called the Federal Acquisitions Regulations, or the FAR. And inside the FAR, there is a requirement for every federal agency to make sure that the companies they work with represent and warrant that they are legally able to produce, manufacture, and sell whatever they're selling to the government. There is no question that the National Institutes of Health, there's no question that DARPA, and there is no question that NIAID has had the ability to look at the evidence and see that this company is violating the law. And despite the evidence being in place since the first patent application that predated the foundation, by the way, of Moderna by about 4 months. So Moderna's first patent exists before Moderna exists. In every one of the subsequent patents, they failed to disclose the federal funding. And as a result, every agency who has given them a contract has been violating contract rules under sections 27 and 52 of the Federal Acquisitions Regulation.